everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Real Romance, your wonderful podcast with the couple who goes and watches cinema. I'm Robert, also known as Bamfing Bob, and my co-host here is the lovely Miss Brittany. How are you?
You're pretty peppy, so...
We're both very sick. With the weather and everything else, it's just been a nightmare trying to get our immune systems together, but we still found the energy to go out to a few movies. Barely. We've fallen behind. Normally we're really ahead of the game, going to movie after movie 2-3 times a week. But really, we've been just trying to squeeze in one a week, haven't we?
We've been trying.
It does help, though, that...
This week there's going to be a lot.
Yeah, I was saying the last few weeks from the end of January to mid-February, there really hasn't been all that much. About one good movie a week coming out, but February 8th and February 15th is where all of the big movies are coming out.
We're going to put out a romance episode, hopefully in the next week.
Right, because this is when all the romantic comedies, all of the big romance stuff, everyone wants to go out on date night for Valentine's Day, so... all of those movies are going to be coming out here shortly. But this one is going to be covering a lot of the non-romantic movies that have come out through the 8th of February since our last recording. We are going to have 4 movies that are from cinema, and then one that was a Sundance documentary by CNN that actually came on TV. And so we watched that one as well. So, what do you want to start with, my dear? Do you want to go in chronological order, starting with the...
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
Okay, well then we'll start at the beginning and go from there. We saw a lot of kids' movies, a lot of things.
I only saw 2 kids' movies.
No, let me finish. I'm saying is that every movie that we saw leading up to it, we kept seeing these trailers for The Kid Who Would Be King. And we were going to see it, but I wasn't really all that impressed with the trailers. It just looked like a very generic kids movie that was trying to rip off something like Percy Jackson or Harry Potter or some other such, book adaptation for kids, right?
Right.
But honestly, I was very impressed by it.
It was really good. I thought it was really fun. It was cute. The cast was really good. The kids were very good. And it was different than I thought it was going to be. But, good. There were jokes, and they were actually funny, not just,
forced.
There needs to be a laugh track funny. It was actually funny.
Right, and a lot of it was situational. Now, for those who aren't aware and have not seen any of the trailers, The Kid Who Would Be King is a modern King Arthur retelling where a young man named... it's not Alexander, isn't it?
I think so.
I think his name is Alexander. It's not Arthur, I know that. But yeah, while she's Googling it, this young man, he's being bullied at school in London.
Mostly his friend is being bullied.
Right, and his friend's being bullied, and he's just kind of at the bottom of the totem pole. And he's being raised by a single mother, and one day he's...
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah, but he's chased into a quarry, and he ends up pulling Excalibur out of a construction site. And... that leads to him being encountered by Merlin, who is disguised.
The best character.
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
But he's in disguise, and Merlin tells Alexander that the evil half sister of Arthur, Morgana, she's coming back, and she's going to take over the bleak, horrible London, or the whole England. Right, she's going to take over everything, and so he needs to assemble the purest of heart for his knights, and they need to come together to defeat this dark queen from the underworld. A lot of fun things, a lot of different situations occur where every night these dark forces come, and more it's full. It had a really nice. It is a building escalation of threat over a period of nights.
It gets worse and worse. They get stronger. It had a really nice, like, it was like, basically, unless you've been knighted, like, you disappear. Which was really nice. It led to some really funny scenes. But it also kind of explained why no one ever sees it. Because in movies, there's always, like, this crazy crap going down, but no one except the main character sees it. And so this made, like, I gave it at least a decent excuse.
They, like, disappear into, like, limbo while all the crazy stuff is happening.
And then when it's over, they, like, come back, which there's a very funny scene.
Right. It at least is some funny stuff. But the kids, they learn to sword fight. They learn to ride horses.
3 days.
Yeah, no, they have to come together because it's still a big mess. Okay, like, these kids still don't know what they're doing, but
they try really
they
hard.
pull their resources. They encounter these forces the way kids can.
Merlin shows up and he thinks there's going to be 4 years until this happens, and then it's
like 4 days. Yeah,
and he's like freaking out. Okay, but Merlin can't appear at night
for some reason.
I don't remember I don't know if that's mythologically accurate or not, but I'm not
I think it's for the book.
But Merlin, the guy that plays Merlin is fantastic. Patrick Stewart plays old Merlin, but he's not in it very often.
But he's a fun little touch, just kind of alluding to the fact that Merlin is an old man. Right.
But basically, Merlin apparently, as Merlin gets older, he actually gets younger.
Yes.
Like, that's what it's talked about. But his name is Angus Emery, and he did a fantastic job. He was definitely my favorite.
And it's not just like him as an actor. Like, the character itself, Merlin, is an intriguing character.
Yeah, he definitely gave it a new spin that I thought was amazing. Like, okay, the magic was pretty funny. So he does, like, these elaborate hand gestures, like hand jiving.
A lot of snapping and clapping and, like, weird tapping his palm.
And you think that sounds stupid, but, like, when you're watching it, it's very enjoyable.
It's funny, but it's also very, like,
serious.
Oh, this is magic. But he's all like doing this weird hand gesture stuff.
But it's exactly the same for the spell over and over. So it's like, it makes sense. It's like each spell has
a certain movement. Almost like, instead of moving your wand a certain way, he has to do the certain hand motions.
And I don't know how he learned to do that, but...
Right. But also... one of the things is when he's not at full health, he needs a certain potion to come back to life. It's like crushed up beetles.
A bone of mammals or something.
And urine excretions from a beaver, right? It's weird stuff. But he finds all these ingredients at a fast food chicken shop. He says, oh, well, the soda has this and there's all sorts of crushed up bones inside chicken, and vanilla flavoring for this milkshake has beaver gland juice, and you're just like, that's disgusting to think about. But it's actually true. So that made it really funny.
Natural flavors is just beaver anal expression.
Yeah, so next time you go to Wendy's and get a
vanilla
frosty, you're welcome. And I'll still drink them because they're delicious and I don't care. All right, I've put worse in my body.
Right.
Also, interesting to note, the main character is actually the son of famed mocap actor Andy Serkis, who played Gollum.
What's that on the bed?
It's nothing. It's nothing.
You have tissues.
It's not a booger.
Anyway.
But Andy Serkis' son plays this character, and it was his really big debut film. And a lot of times these sons and daughters of famous actors, they'll come out and they'll be in movies and it's just really disappointing. And sometimes you're surprised and they actually do a really good job. And this was a very good first outing for this kid. I think he has a future in acting.
Has he never been in anything before?
He's been in a couple of small things because, they're British, right? The British invasion is crazy. Like, every part is taken over by a British actor. But this is a British film with all British cast.
They are in British.
So this makes sense to have him in. It's not like he came over to America and he tried to play some California kid.
I guess he was in some weird animated
Yeah, what
film.
is his first name?
Yeah, Lewis.
Lewis. Yeah. But
I think the most famous kid is...
Or no, I think it's Louis.
Louis, whatever. The most famous kid in the movie was... And you won't recognize him because his hair's different. His name is Tom Taylor. He was in The Dark Tower a few years ago.
See, we didn't see that one.
No, we didn't. But and he's been in a couple different things. But his brother had some definite roles in Harry Potter. What are you looking for, honey?
I want a pillow to sit against. Give me a second.
Your pillow's over there and it needs wash.
I know it does. I'm just gonna get a secondary pillow.
But he was the only kid, I think, that, as far as I remember, that has been in anything else, like, even kind of...
Anything notable.
Yeah, like, everybody else was pretty new. I mean, obviously Patrick Stewart and stuff.
Yeah, no, he's... Patrick Stewart, he's so new.
And the mom has been in stuff. But other than that, like... None of the kid actors really have been in hardly anything.
Right, but back to the movie. The CGI was actually really, really good, and the action sequences were above par what I was expecting from the trailers. I was just expecting some hokey, stupid kids film to fill an hour and 45 minutes of our time and make a quick box office buck. But they put some serious effort into it. Morgana looked great. They have like these like fire demon skeleton
cool.
things, and yeah, the vines, but they did what Percy Jackson should have been.
They made the kids actually fairly young. I mean, they weren't as young as they were portrayed in the movie, but they were definitely younger. They were all teenagers, so I mean, that's something. Right.
But the idea how everyone was upset about Percy Jackson them changing everything, I felt like this.
To be fair, they weren't
evoked the same.
They weren't working off
idea
of a script I mean, they did have a movie, but like it wasn't the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I was thoroughly impressed with this movie, and even though it's not the normal fare, he didn't want to see it.
He wasn't excited.
It's not the normal fare, but I was pleasantly surprised by it. It's not that I didn't want to see it. I just went in with really low expectations. I didn't think it was going to be good.
He was like, this looks dumb.
It did look dumb, but walking away from it, we were laughing and talking about Merlin's fun moments.
I'm going to learn to do magic like that.
Oh, yeah. You can totally do magic. Okay, so, out of popcorn buckets, what would you give it?
3.5.
3.5? I'd agree. I mean, I don't want to quite bump it up to 4, but it was an enjoyable flick. So 3.5 buckets, I think, is a good consensus. All right, so the next one that we saw was actually the one on television that we talked about, which was Three Identical Strangers, and it is a documentary done by CNN, which follows three brothers who were separated at birth, or at 6 months old, by an adoption agency in New York, and they found out that they were brothers when one of them went to the same college as his brother, and everyone mistaked him.
Yeah.
And then there was a huge newspaper article about these long-lost twins, and then the third brother came out and said, these guys look just like me, and that's how they all came together. And even though it sounds like a really fun, heartwarming story of people coming together,
it was actually really
it's actually kind of messed up.
It was really sad. It was overall, the whole film was sad.
No, the first half of the film was really happy. I mean, they found fame.
They found each other, but...
No, they found fame. They went on the talk show circuit. They started a business together. They got used to each other's, quirks and similarities. And even though they'd been separated for years and years, and they grew up entirely apart...
They had a lot of similarities.
They had a lot of similarities. But they smoked the same brand of cigarette. They all wrestled in high school. They all had the same taste in women, music, cars.
They also realized, like, initially they focused only on the similarities, and then later on they realized, hey, there are actually a lot of differences. And one of the main differences is the one brother... And it wasn't just say his dad was bad or anything. There was nothing wrong, per se, with his dad. but they just didn't have the same kind of relationship that the other two brothers had with their adopted dads.
Right. It was one of those kind of like spare the rod, spoil the child kind of things. Like the dad was just a very
different.
strict, authoritarian kind of dad.
Yeah, but he was a good dad. That wasn't
hard,
and that wasn't what he needed, and so that was really hard for him.
Right, but the whole idea was they were separated not by some random, you can't place triplets. They were split up because of a secret scientific study
It wasn't even so much that they were split up. It was that the fact that the agency didn't say anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a secret study, and they separated them to show the difference between nature and nurture, whether your genetics determine who you are, or is it your upbringing. And so, as a part of the adoption agreement, they were fed this BS line that these people were going to show their development over time, and this and that, and the adoption agency wanted to, keep tabs on these kids. And so the parents agreed. They said, oh yeah, whatever.
That's fine.
But
they also didn't tell them that the mother, and they don't know much, they didn't speak about the father.
No, they didn't even mention him.
I don't know if they don't know who he is, or if it was too painful, or if, who knows. But the mom had a history of mental problems. Not she wasn't schizophrenic or anything like that, but she had depression issues.
Right, and that can be bad enough. Because if you're raised in three different families treat even some quote unquote simple mental illness like depression totally differently. One might say, well, let's go straight to the psychiatrist. The other one will say, suck it up. Just be happy. And that can totally affect who you are as a person moving forward, whether or not you actually seek mental health treatment or not.
It definitely didn't. It seemed like initially they were very close, and then, by this point in the documentary, they're not.
Right. They're all of the cracks in this happy, fun story start, getting wider and wider.
It's not a movie, a real, it is a movie, but it's not like a
it's
Hollywood.
Right, it's not cinematic. It is a documentary. It details their life. And these brothers, I assume we don't have too many older listeners, but if you were, around in the 80s when this first happened...
It's nice of you to assume that we have listeners.
Well, yeah, I think all of our listeners need to be appreciated.
All 6.
All 8. Hi, Mom.
Your mom doesn't know.
I know. I haven't even told her I do podcasts. She doesn't know how to work the computer.
Nope.
But these people were around in the 80s, and they were kind of a huge deal. They were on every talk show, all the newspapers. They were in New York, and they always...
Do you say 80s?
They hopped around.
People that live in the 80s are so old.
Were we alive? Then they're old.
Your sister was.
In 88, she was a toddler.
Do you think she's old?
Well, she's older than me. But no, what I'm saying is, if you're old enough to actually remember and follow the headlines, you're at least 45 now.
True.
Middle-aged, at least.
Yeah.
Right? But, and the whole time, you're following these two brothers, and you're thinking, where's the third? Where's the third? And they reveal that because of all this strain and stuff, he actually ended up committing suicide. And so, you get the story from 2 of the 3 triplets, because the third one killed himself back in the 90s.
I didn't even notice. I wasn't...
Because they're identical twins.
Yeah,
Brittany wasn't... But I noticed at the very beginning. I'm like, I said, they keep talking about Eddie. Where's Eddie? Who's Eddie? Well, Eddie
dead.
Eddie dead. But honestly, it was a very...
Spoiler.
It was a very enlightening... It's been out for months and months. But it was a very enlightening documentary. I thought it was very entertaining, even if it wasn't like a cinematic plot with a beginning, middle, and end with
I thought
anything like that.
It was just, for me, there was a little bit too much repetitiveness where they talk about, they repeat how all the stuff they talk about, how being on the talk shows, and they kept going over it and kept saying, yeah, we talked about all the stuff that we were like, and they kept saying it over and over and showing some of the same clips.
Yeah.
And Like, I really wanted more to focus on, like, the secretive part, the why. And I know that they didn't get a lot of access to it until after some of the filming, but I would have rather they cut some of the initial film and went back and filmed some of that.
Yeah.
Because the whole time they're trying to get the access to these records of why they were separated and what they were doing and what they were studying.
But the whole point is that the big reveal is that it was never published and nobody really knows what they found.
Even the only person willing to talk to them about it was an assistant, and he wasn't with the study the whole time, and he wasn't even told. It kind of seemed like some German Nazi garbage going on. Like, the doctor was German.
Right, and the funny thing is, it was a Jewish adoption agency. It's just a lot of very strange happenings.
Weird. It was a little bit too coincidental for me.
Yeah, but overall, I thought it was a story that needed to be told. It was a good story.
It was sad.
It was just...
It
wasn't a feel-good story.
No, it wasn't. It was
Except, I mean, at the beginning it is. It's like, yeah, we found each other. It's a great... it's amazing.
The worst part is at the end, you find out there are probably twins and triplets out there that still don't know they have a twin. Like,
what would you do if you found out you had a twin somewhere?
I do. She's 5 years apart from me. What do you mean?
A long-lost twin, not one that...
My actual sister?
Yeah.
That'd be really weird considering I was an in vitro baby.
Yeah, well, I doubt I was. But if I found out I just had a twin floating around out there, like, I would just want to know, like, what they do for a living, right? It's like, what interests you? Because, yeah, you look like me. Are you balding too?
I'd be like, can you dye your hair so I can see what it looked like?
Yeah. I mean, but I'd be like, what line of work did you go into? Is it a math field?
I hope if I have a twin, she's fat. Or at least a little fatter than me. Well,
That's vague.
No, look, I don't...
Oh my god.
Think about it. If your twin walked in and they had a six-pack, and they were fit, and they had a full head of hair, how pissed would you be?
I'd feel like Danny DeVito in that movie Twins.
Exactly. Do you want to be Danny DeVito, or do you want to be Arnold Schwarzenegger? I don't want to be Danny DeVito.
Get to the job.
Like, I mean, I don't really want to be Arnold either, but, I mean...
Better you get the good stuff than the junk.
Not that Danny DeVito's junk. He's very talented.
No, the whole... Okay, can we just talk for a split second? How that movie is just total shit. The fact that they're like Danny DeVito's a shit human being because he got all the leftover DNA, so he's fat and bald and short and ugly.
And that's how that works.
And that's how that works, where you just like you either get good DNA or bad DNA.
That's not how
Danny
that works.
DeVito's crap. I mean, I'm sorry, but
that's not right.
That was a shit movie.
Back then they
it was a funny idea, but it's just so sad that
some of the movies back then were
imagine being Danny DeVito.
questionable.
Okay. Imagine being Danny DeVito and going into that movie and your agent's sitting there. He says, okay, you're going to star in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He says, oh, great. Who do I play? His dumb, ugly, short brother. Wait, what? Yeah, you're the crap twin.
You're like if they took all the good stuff and then they threw out the garbage and then they made you accidentally.
Exactly. You're the trash heap baby. Okay. And then he's like, well, how much does it pay? I'm in.
Back in the day, they made some weird movies.
They really did.
Remember Junior with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, where he had a baby?
Yeah, that was some weird
Pregnant
movie.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, my God.
Trying to be like, men can have babies, too. Come on, bitch. No.
Nope. Okay, so, 3 Identical Strangers. What would you give it?
2.5.
See, I'd give it 3. Like,
I was kind of bored.
I found it interesting. I mean, it wasn't exciting, but it was interesting.
I just felt like I could have watched that in the 30-minute documentary. I didn't need an hour.
It was like 2 hours.
Yeah, whatever. It was really long. I thought it could have been about half.
I could see that. There was a lot of extraneous stuff, but yeah, I still give it 3.
Okay. The next movie we went and saw was one I was more excited about. None of these were movies you were that pumped about. These were all movies that I was kind of like, I want to see these, except for the documentary.
The documentary was a filler because I didn't feel like going out to the movies more, if I'm being dead honest.
Well, I tried to get you to watch a Netflix movie. But anyway, we went and saw Miss Bala, which I was really excited for. I watched Jane the Virgin, and I really like Gina Rodriguez. I think she's really talented. What did you think?
Oh,
We could give a plot summary, I guess. So the movie is about this Hispanic girl. She's an American citizen, but she still has like a friend down in Tijuana, right?
yeah.
So she goes down to Tijuana. She's a makeup artist, and she goes down there to help her friend in the Miss Baja California pageant.
Yeah.
But they go to a club, and her friend gets kidnapped, and she tries to go to the police, but ends up involved with this gang, but then the DEA agents, I guess, were the DEA, whoever, they were some American agents.
It was DEA.
And they're like, look, you blew up this building, and so now you either have to help us or we're going to send you to jail. And she's like, they made me, and they're like, we don't care. Screw you. Help us or die, like, basically. And that was the premise of the movie.
Right. And so, but the main point is that she is trying to get her friend back, and she'll do anything she has to get her friend back.
But also not get arrested.
Right. So she's trying to infiltrate this drug cartel, trying to get information on how to get her friend back.
She doesn't know where her friend is for 90% of the movie.
Right. And finally when she figures it out, it's like, all right, it's on like Donkey Kong, I got to get her back. She's the reason, or I'm the reason that she's there, so I want to make sure I get.
She isn't.
Well, they went to the club together, and she tried to get her friend out. And the whole time she was trying to get her friend out, and then in the morning nothing happens. She's still missing. Mm-hmm. So she feels responsible for not being able to find her.
And the whole time you're not really sure who's a bad guy, who's a good guy. It's basically, the movie highlighted how pointless the war on drugs really is. Because nobody's a good guy. The DEA agent wasn't a good guy. The drug guy wasn't a good guy. The mayor or police captain or whatever, he wasn't a good guy. Like, there were no good people in this film, except for the main character.
There was just bad and worse.
Basically, and it highlighted how women are just, like, completely just used as objects and abused, and how that sucks. But Gina Rodriguez did a really nice job of, at the end of the movie, she has really, like, matured, like, and become more powerful and more, like, at the beginning she doesn't really stick up for herself. Like, there are some designs she wants to show this guy and at this makeup show, and he's like, no, just follow the book. And she, like, doesn't say anything. But by the end of the film, she's definitely grown as a person.
Yeah. She did experience some character growth. For me, I thought it was a very basic drug cartel type movie. I'm not really into the whole big shoot 'em up gang stuff. Never really have been.
There wasn't like a whole lot of that.
There was a lot of that. There was explosions. There were firefights. There was a lot.
I really liked the guy that played the drug dealer, whatever his name was.
He did a very good job.
He did this really nice job of walking the line between like attractive and crazy,
terrifying, approachable, and fearful.
Like, cause she's torn like most of the movie on whether she actually likes him or not. And at the end, she does make a decision. I don't want to spoil anything, but the most of the movie, she's torn like, do I think this guy's attractive? Is he a nice guy? Does he have like...
No, and there's also the duality because he says, look, the DEA, they're the bad guys here. We're just trying to make a buck. They're the ones who are killing all our people. They're the bad guys.
Well, he's talking about the police chief is the bad guy.
The police chief specifically is...
The police chief
is dirty. He's a dirty cop, is what he's trying to say.
Regardless of how bad or good he is, he's not a good guy. Regardless of what the gang guy says is good or not, he's not good because he sleeps with the winner of the pageant, and you don't really have a choice about the matter.
Also, the pageant, it's called the Miss Baja California,
but it's in Tijuana.
It's in Tijuana, but that's not all of it. The movie is called Miss Bala, and it's the Miss Baja California. It's
Bala, it's about bullets.
I know it's the bullet, La Bala, right? But but they say Baja and Bala all the time.
Spanish confuses Robert.
It's just, why? Why did it have to be the Miss Baja California? Like, I don't understand. Is that an actual contest?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know enough about Mexican culture to really be able to say, but it almost felt like a literary device, being like, oh, we want to make sure, we drive that point home by making it sound like, similar words.
I guess.
Right?
I didn't even notice.
And the character,
I just thought Mexican,
I don't even know.
Spanish, there's a lot of Baja and Bala and...
I'm going to sneeze.
Okay. Are you?
No.
There you go. Bless you.
Thank you. Okay, so anyway, the main character, I forget Gina Rodriguez's real name.
Gloria.
Gloria, right? Her friend's name is Hoo-Ha or something.
No, it's Suzu.
Suzu.
It was kind of a weird name. it was a weird name for as much as they said it.
Yeah, they said it a lot.
Like, they said...
Where's Suzu?
Suzu.
Suzu,
like,
where is she?
I was like, okay, this is getting weird. Like,
Couldn't she have been a Maria or a Diana or something?
Nobody says anybody's name that much either.
Yeah, that's the one name you hear all the time. But anyway, Gloria, she doesn't want the spotlight, right? She's not a model. She's the makeup artist.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they throw her into the competition.
No,
and
that's not what irritated me.
I'm getting to that. Is that she skips all the rehearsals, all the fittings, all the preparation, and she still wins. Granted, it's rigged. They rig it so that she'll win, so that she'll get with the police chief.
Spoiling everything.
I'm not spoiling everything.
Yes, you are.
But I'm saying is that the cartel has connections, okay? And they make it happen, even though she goes in completely unprepared, without anything, and they make it work.
Cassie, stop snorting.
But they make it work for her, and I'm just like,
the weirdest
it's such
part,
a plot device.
Gina Rodriguez is very pretty.
Oh, absolutely.
And she's fit, and...
But they treat her, she looks like a bag of potatoes.
They're like, her friend, I mean, is pretty, but arguably I would say Gina is prettier. And, like, they go to sign her friend up for the contest, and the lady's like, not you, right? And I'm just thinking, like, fish, what do you
She's so
mean?
pretty.
She's
Shut
gorgeous.
up. Shut the hell up.
She looked better than you. Sit down.
Yeah, but for me, the movie was just very generic, and I wasn't all that impressed with it, but
It was nice to see a female in a nice role like that, rather than like a Liam Neeson kind of.
And it's really good to see, Latino-led movies. It's just not my fare. It's just not what I like in a movie.
I liked it. I mean, it wasn't something I'd watch again, but it was enjoyable.
There was no humor in it.
No, there wasn't very funny.
And the action in it was all very, very shoot 'em up. I think there might have been... Wasn't there a car chase in it? Maybe one? Yeah. But overall, it was just a big shoot 'em up. And, we have to get this guy because, wait, bang, 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 bang,
I was
bang.
disappointed there wasn't very many avocados.
No avocados.
Not that I like avocados, but...
Taste of Mexico.
We watched this thing about how drug cartels funnel a lot of their money through avocados, and so I was disappointed there wasn't more avocados.
Right, but they do try to show the small family kind of side of the cartel, where it's like, yeah, there's the big mafia type family, but then there's also personal stuff that they have to keep separate.
So I don't remember her name.
No, I'm talking about when he goes back home and they're making the best, the best meals and.
What was it?
Carne asada or something?
No, it was the stuff we get at Chipotle.
Oh, barbacoa?
Yeah, that's what they had, barbacoa.
Yeah. But overall, I'd probably give it a 2
I gave it a
out of 5.
Most of that was Gina.
It wasn't an awful flick. I just didn't like it.
I did like the end. The
end was good. It was a good ending, and I don't want to say it's a twist, but it's
a twist. There were a lot of smaller twists.
It's a real small twist.
There weren't any real big twists.
Yeah, but I like the way they ended it. They ended it on a power move, not just the end.
Cop out.
Yeah, so it was nice, but yeah, it's a 2. It's not really worth seeing, but if it comes on, you might as well watch it. Next movie we saw, we saw 2 movies this week because we wanted to make sure we got the movies in, because as we said, this next week we're gonna have a ton
We're gonna
of
try
romantic.
to cram out an episode.
Oh God, it's gonna be awful. Yeah,
Probably not for Valentine's weekend.
right. But before the 22nd, probably we're probably gonna have another one because there's so many romantic movies, and we want to make sure we get a full podcast worth. But we wanted to watch 2 movies that came out this week: Prodigy and Lego Movie 2. We saw Lego Movie 2 today, but first we're going to talk Prodigy because we're doing this in order, right?
I liked it.
Prodigy was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, it was different than I thought.
From the trailers, you can see that there's a kid who's born, and he's a very smart kid, hence the name. But there's also something a little bit off about him. He's speaking different languages. He's not acting like a little boy should.
He's 8.
Yeah, and there's some really creepy stuff about him, almost psychotic.
I don't want to give too much away about this movie because it really.
Yeah, no. The best part about this movie is the big surprises and the giveaways. But I think is it safe to give a general idea?
I guess.
Okay.
Hard to be.
I will. Well, the movie deals with the concept of reincarnation. And Prodigy, this boy is born on the same day
as someone else died.
as that someone else died. And
let's just say he's not a good person.
yeah, he's not.
Let's just leave it.
Yeah, let's just leave it there and say that this kid is in a battle in himself between the good little boy and the not so good person that's trying to get reincarnated. As far as being a scary movie,
there were scares.
I jumped a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's not like a thriller type thing where there's a masked man hiding in the closet.
It's more of a psychological
right.
thing.
It's like
It's like, what if your child, like, you didn't know your child and you grew up with thinking that this was your son but
right.
there's someone else there and they're not good.
Yeah, you're hugging, you're consoling, you're caring for your kid, but what if it's not really your kid, right? What if it's a complete stranger taking advantage of you, acting like them, or saying what you want to hear?
Kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, kind of.
Yeah, it's an invasion of privacy, right? And the mother.
The kid does some really weird stuff. Like, he spies on the parents, and he says some super creepy kid things, and it kind of, the movie just reaffirmed how, like, kids are creepy AF, and this kid was extremely creepy.
Very gifted actor.
He was pretty talented.
But I would argue that the main character, even though the kid is like,
well, yeah, the main character is
the main character is the mom, and she's the one who plays Piper on Orange Is the New Black. I forget her name off the top of my head. But she does an amazing
something.
Yeah, but she does an amazing job because she's wanting to be a good mom, but she sees these little developments over time, like the kid's talking in his sleep, the kid's
And the kid will just say something that's super weird.
Right, or he'll do something violent and he'll say I don't remember.
Fair warning.
I can't recall.
If you flinched at the scene in The Quiet Place with the foot through
there's a very similar scene.
It's painful.
It's like I think trigger warnings are important. Like Brittany, you hate things like teeth and fingernails, right?
If they pull out their teeth, just don't even tell me. I'm not gonna go.
But an FYI, there is a death of a dog in this too.
Oh yeah, that was.
And that was.
It's not on scene. It's just.
Yeah, it's not on camera, but it's still pretty scarring knowing that happens.
I was not ready for that.
Oh, and the kid is so vile too. It's like they're looking for the dog, and he says, "Everyone dies, even you're gonna die." It's like, what the hell, kid? Like, you're 8. That is super morbid. But later on, when you find out that he's kind of like.
You find out
at war with himself.
It makes sense.
It makes sense that he'd say things that are profoundly morbid like that. But there's a few CGI effects that they try to utilize to kind of show that duality of character.
Those were really creepy.
That really creeped me out. The acting that I'll reiterate just the acting of this kid kind of switching between innocence and psychosis, like it's top notch. I'm not sure if the kid deserves an award, but he deserves a pat on the back and an ice cream cone. I mean, he did a damn good job.
He got a paycheck.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying like he deserves kudos, not just what he got, but he performed.
Yeah.
He performed well.
Anyway.
Yeah, without giving too much in plot, I felt like it was a very solid film with a very not obscure, indefinite ending. Right? It's hard to know how it ends because much like Miss Bala, it has an open ending so that you don't necessarily know how things turn out, but you can pretty much see the direction things are going in.
There's definitely enough room for a sequel, or even exploring it with another kid, or like it.
The concept of reincarnation it's not normal reincarnation. It's their certain brand of it.
It's like a ghost that has something like that.
Unfinished business. Right.
In order to get your kid back, you got to figure out what that is.
Right, and the unfinished business kind of dictates whether or not, the ghost, quote unquote, the ghost will leave. But yeah, like the movie itself, I'd probably give it a 4. It was a good movie.
Give it a 3.5 to a 4.
Like I was impressed by it.
It was pretty good.
Of the 5 movies that we saw, I was probably most excited for Prodigy. I thought it looked really good.
It was really good.
And even then, it wasn't what I was expecting. So that's something. Well, now for a complete 180, from kind of a creepy child to a goofy kids movie, we got Lego Movie 2, and we just saw it today, so it's fresh on our mind.
I liked it.
We saw the first movie, and we really enjoyed it. And Lego Movie's not one of those things that I'm like, oh my god, I need to see the next one, right? But it's an enjoyable movie. Batman, Lego was good. And so Lego Movie 2 picks up right where the last one ended.
The second part.
Right, it's called the second part because you see it and now
there's a time jump.
There's a time jump within the movie though, because the movie it ends and it says, "Yay, the Craggle, it's been defeated. This is the end of the movie."
That's what the little Legos sound like.
Yeah, and then this happens and it says, "Well, we're gonna play with your sister now," and then it all goes to hell. Like the whole Legoland stuff, it's not a good thing. When the little sister comes around, it ain't good. And then it kicks forward 5 years and it's a desolate wasteland.
It's apocalypse.
And every time, it feels like, because Emmett and Lucy and Batman and all these characters,
all the characters are back except Will Ferrell's character, and he's in it just not very long.
It's funny. He has little voice cameos.
Little pop out.
Right. But they acknowledge he's there, but they don't pay him the big bucks to be a star. Right? But every time they try to build something nice in this apocalypse world or whatever, the sister comes and ruins it all. Right?
Yeah.
And this is kind of from the brothers. Like, this is the brothers' toy set. Right? So little sister comes and ruins everything. And the premise is that
Emmett is still very much Emmett.
He's the eternal optimist.
And everyone else is like, life sucks.
Yeah,
life is hard.
They become brooding. They change. The kitty character, bless her heart, she turns into a badass battle panther, right? Just a fire beast that just shoots. Unikitty. Yeah. But it's really fun to see these characters change.
She just sneezed all over me.
Oh, maybe you got what I got, little girl.
That's a cold.
But she says, I gotta get my mind. Okay, this new invader comes and steals all the people who have power in this land, and steals them away. And she wants to marry Batman. Okay, they say
you're skipping parts. Okay, so they take them. This space cadet looking lady comes and steals them, and then they go to this. What was it called? The Sista region or something like that?
Sistar.
And then you meet a character played by Tiffany Haddish called Queen.
Whatever I want to be.
Whatever wanna be. Basically, like, whatever I want to be is basically what her name is. And she, like, transforms, like, every 2 seconds. And
it's kind of weird.
And then she sings this really cute song about how she's nice and whatnot,
But it's always like, I'm not mean, and I'm not evil, and I'm not sinister. And the whole time Lucy's like, that's really suspicious that you're just describing all the things that you are and just putting not in front of it. Right? I'm unmischievous. I'm malicious. You know? Like,
well, overall, and then Emmett is trying to, with his friend Rex, new friend Rex.
Rex Danger Vest.
Yeah. He's trying to...
Raptor trainer, archaeologist, space explorer.
It basically is making fun of Chris Pratt.
And all of his roles, but it's so funny that they just, like... No, they go there.
They literally, like, have a joke about how he's got a hard body, but it was hidden under baby fat previously. Like, it was
They
funny.
poke serious fun at it.
There were definitely a lot of more adult jokes in this film.
Right, but...
Like, not, like, adult humor, but, like, adult jokes that a child wouldn't understand the references for.
Exactly. But the Queen, she's trying to marry Batman so that she can take over, right? Or according to the plot that as we know it, I don't want to give too much away, but she's trying to marry Batman so that she can have more power, right? According to where we're at. And Rex Dangervest and Emmett are going to try to stop this union from happening.
And so is Lucy.
Right. But all these...
They're convinced all their other friends are brainwashed.
Right, because they're happy, they're goofy,
There is a great scene with Batman in the film where she sings another song, and she's trying to convince him to marry her because Batman's the eternal bachelor. Bachelor.
There's
a lot of bat puns.
And she says, well, I don't even want to marry you. I really just want to marry Superman. And it's like, oh, it's on now. Right? I can't have you marry Superman.
That was so funny. That was a very funny song.
Right, because he mentions almost all of the different people who've played Batman in the movies. They mention that, like Adam West, Ben Affleck, Kristen Bale.
They'll see it, honey.
Right.
Everything.
But it's essentially a Batman versus Superman song, right? How much better Bruce Wayne is.
Superman is played by Channing Tatum, and
don't you mean Silly Man?
Oh, sorry.
He's Silly Man now.
And Green Lantern is, I think, Jonah Hill, and then Jason Momoa
plays Aquaman.
I don't know who plays Wonder Woman. I mean, they're very brief cameos, but it's pretty funny. But yeah, so I mean, I liked the film. I did doze off briefly. I had a very long day. We're both sick.
We're both sick. Like, I had to stay home from a trip out of town because we were driving 7 hours away through the storm, and with the way I've been sick, I didn't want to be in a car for 7 hours with people who would want to stay healthy. And I thought, I'd just take one for the team and stay home rather than endanger their health. But I've been home all day and I feel awful. But Lego Movie 2, it had a lot of fun jokes. It pokes fun at a lot of stuff. It pokes fun at the fact that they don't have the rights to Marvel. Or Disney. Yeah, they said all the DC heroes, we couldn't get in touch with Marvel. And all we have left is original Aquaman and knockoff Larry Poppins. Right? You remember that?
No.
You might have been asleep during that one.
I was dozing off a little bit.
Yeah, but they reference things in pop culture. Like, instead of just being Legos, there's also things like Polly Pockets in this.
Do you know that the general lady, that's Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No kidding.
Yeah, that's who plays her.
Wow, that's surprising. I actually thought that it was Brienne of Tar or whatever from Game of Thrones, the one who played Lady Captain Phasma. I forget what it.
Yeah.
At first I thought it was her because their voices sounded similar, but once she takes off her mask, it's like, oh, kind of, you kind of can tell the voice difference there.
Yeah.
But the movie, it has a similar feel to the first one, but since you kind of know that this is a children's play set in the real world, but there's a subplot happening within the Lego universe, it kind of takes away the mystique that the first one had, where you reveal it, but the story was just as good, right? The idea behind it all was just as good.
It's really funny with scene with Maya Rudolph where she steps on Legos. That was pretty funny.
Right. She can't just not step on Legos. She steps on them twice. She says, ooh. I'm not going to give away that funny line.
You're not very good at not giving away stuff.
If they're listening to our podcast, they need to be watching these movies, Brittany.
I know, but you
God.
should try.
Oh my God. It's not going to give away, like, the whole ending. Like,
Okay.
But anybody with half a brain who watches this movie can tell the similarities between Emmett and Rex. They're both voiced by Chris Pratt.
Yes.
But one is Emmett, and one is clearly a, kind of an amalgam of Chris Pratt characters. A badass kind of raptor wrangler. And
I think that's all you should say about it.
right, but, I mean, there's a duality there because they're both voiced by Chris Pratt, and you can tell the difference between the two.
Bruce Willis has a couple.
Bruce Willis being... That's what I mean, like, it's so meta. Like, the movie itself...
Bruce Willis is just crawling around in the vents for no reason.
He's like, yeah, I do this a lot,
I don't live here or anything.
Yeah. But it's just funny seeing them tie in stuff like that. And the end credits with...
Lonely Island.
yeah, the Lonely Island has a new song.
Robin?
Robin Thicke?
No, just Robin.
I don't know. But they have this whole, like, actual Lego creation thing where they take actual Legos and they create a cinematic with a lot of machinery and moving parts. And that was almost as impressive as the movie was, just seeing all of those pieces kind of interact with one another in a real life, people constructed this out of actual Legos scene. That was really impressive for me, and I enjoyed it a lot. Can we talk about the song?
Which song?
This song will get stuck in your... This song will stuck in your head.
I don't even think you know it.
I don't know how it goes.
Oh, Beck featuring Robin and the Lonely Island. That's the last song. It's called Super Cool.
Right. But there's a song that is called, this song will get stuck in your head.
The catchy song?
The catchy song. It's so catchy. Right?
Yeah, should we play a little clip?
Yeah, sure. Can you find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, this song has like zero effect on me.
You're dancing.
Don't look at me.
This song gonna get stuck inside your head. And then I died. There's actually some really good songs in this.
Yeah, they really were.
I feel like it's more musical than the first one was, because the
There
first one just had Everything is Awesome, and then this one actually played off of Everything is Awesome several times.
A couple remixes.
Right, there was remixes. There was kind of a play on words where Everything is Not So Awesome.
That was pretty sad.
But it's also a good catchy song, and it made me feel like alive. I'm like, oh my god, Everything is Not Awesome. That is my anthem. They
were all catchy enough to be.
Yeah.
Like, your kids are going to be singing all the songs.
Yeah, no. I don't normally say that musicals you need to take home the CD of it or whatever. But this is one of those movies, especially kids' movies, where you could take home the album and just listen to the different songs. Like, Mary Poppins, I wouldn't have taken home the soundtrack for that one. But Star is Born, you bet your ass I have it in my car right now. I listen to it all the time.
See, the Everything is Awesome is in this, but it's the Tween Dream remix because the kid's older now.
Yeah, it's funny.
It was funny.
Okay, so out of 5 buckets, I'd give it a 4.
I give it a 4 too.
A 4-2?
No, a 4. You suck.
I know it.
Like, it had some nice twists. It had
A great family kids film.
It had some good songs. There was a great brother-sister dynamic. So I just thought it was really nice. It was cute. It was fun. It was definitely enjoyable.
So
there were definitely some really funny jokes.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. There was one I really laughed at, but I don't remember what it was.
There's some that they catch you off guard. And it's good. It's fun stuff, right? A lot of the funny jokes are in the trailer, but
I liked some
you
of
need to watch it.
Some of the they were like the Sistar system and the dry R system.
Yeah.
Like,
under the dryer, right?
Yeah, like
it's not under the dryer. Oh Lord, right? Okay, so of these 5 films, we had The Kid Who Would Be King, Miss Bala, Three Identical Strangers, Prodigy, and Lego Movie. Rated from worst to best. How would you rate them?
I would probably rate the Lego Movie from worst to best.
Worst to best.
Three Identical Strangers was the worst for me.
Fair.
And then probably Miss Bala, though I didn't dislike it. It just not as good.
Okay.
And then Kid Who Would Be King. That's a solid middle movie. It was really good. There were some good characters, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. And then Prodigy, simply because I don't really like watching horror movies over again that often.
Yeah.
And then Lego Movie would probably be my favorite, simply because I would watch it again, and I would definitely sing the songs. And I really enjoyed it.
Aside from the bottom 2, I'd have to agree. I would actually put Miss Bala at the very bottom, and then Three Identical Strangers, and then Kid Who Would Be King. And honestly, Prodigy and Lego Movie are kind of at the top. They're kind of hovering at 1 and 2, but they, depending on what you're looking for, because they're both very good movies, but they're tonally so different. So it's kind of hard. It's like apples and oranges. But just to be different, I'll put Prodigy on number 1.
Okay. I just had to think of which one I would watch again.
Lego Movie has rewatchability, but I think Prodigy had... I think the concept of it, like some of the art style, or not the art style, but the cinematography, the whole concept of the movie was just so original from what we've seen in the past. It was not something that we've seen before. Lego Movie we've seen before. It's kind of like Hotel Transylvania 3, right? We saw the first 2. We pretty much knew what we were getting into, but there was nothing.
Was funny.
There was nothing special about that movie.
He didn't like that movie.
I wasn't a fan. I honestly like Transylvania 2 better. But speaking of sequels, you've been going crazy about How to Train Your Dragon. We've been seeing all the trailers.
I cried today.
She cries during every trailer because Toothless.
I'm just afraid of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, they're all gonna die. The end.
I hope Toothless doesn't die. Well, okay, in the last one, it caught me off guard because the dad just died and I was just not ready for that. The mom just came and then they got back together and then he just freaking dies. I was not ready. And I'm afraid.
Oh my god, she wasn't ready.
I'm afraid they're gonna do that in this movie. And then, like, somebody's, like, Hiccup's gonna die or something.
Yeah, no, ooh, I didn't even think about Hiccup dying. Like,
and so
I honestly have a theory, but we'll go into it later because that comes out what, early March?
No, it comes out in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, okay. So this upcoming podcast, we're gonna be seeing What Men Want, Alita Battle Angel. I know you hate it. Isn't It Romantic? We're gonna see what else? There's a lot of them.
Happy Death Day to
Happy
You,
Death Day
which
to
I'm
You.
excited about. It looks really good. I liked the first one.
And there's a 5th one that's coming out.
That Hulu movie, isn't it? Isn't that what we were gonna watch, or no?
No, I thought there was another one in theaters that was coming
Cold
out.
Pursuit, but we're not watching that.
All right, I want to talk about Cold Pursuit for a quick moment.
I don't want to.
But I think there's actually a 5th movie coming out in theaters
I'll
that.
look what you think about it.
I want to just say something about Cold Pursuit while she's looking it up. We were never interested in seeing the movie because Liam Neeson flicks really aren't our thing, right? We don't necessarily like that type of movie. We don't watch James Bond. We don't really do the Jason Bourne thing. Nothing. So, I was going to see it just...
Fighting with my family?
Fighting with my family I want to see. Right.
I don't know if that'll be on the next one or not.
Yeah, this may not be on the next one. But, Cold Pursuit I was going to watch for the sake of the podcast, but we honestly thought against it because of the whole drama with Liam Neeson and the story he told about some of the issues that he's had in the past
I just
with
didn't
revenge.
care about it enough.
I just want to say that I can applaud Liam Neeson for being open and honest about that stuff, and even though I'm against those things, I realize the type of place he was coming from, and the type of revenge he may have been feeling at the time when he heard that one of his friends or family members was raped by someone. It's a very base thing.
Watch what you think.
No, I'm just saying that I think it took balls for him to say what he said, to admit that, what he experienced and how it was wrong, but maybe his wording or the context of it could have been a lot better. So I'm trying not to judge Liam Neeson too bad. I just don't watch his movies because the types of movie he makes isn't really what I'm into. Except for Widows. Widows was a damn good film.
Yeah, but that was more about Viola Davis.
Yeah, he wasn't so much the star as he was kind of the catalyst for the film, like what made the ball roll. But yeah, we would have seen Cold Pursuit, but we opted against it. We opted against it this time around.
We would have said that, and then we would have went and be like, "Oh, you want to go see it today?" And then
no, kind of like the Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing. It's like we wanted to, but we really didn't want to. It sounded fun, but it wasn't like on the top of our list or anything. All right, so that pretty much brings us to the end of the podcast. Stay tuned here in the next week and a half to 2 weeks because we're going to have a whole Valentine's Day movie episode where the title of Real Romance might actually be accurate for 1 week because we're going to be handling all the romantic type stuff on that one. And then the following one is going to have Captain Marvel and How to Train Your Dragon. And that one I'm really excited for episode 6. But episode 5 is going to be our Valentine's Day one. And hopefully I'm feeling much better. And we can...
Episode 6, or episode 5, New Hope. No.
Episode 4, that would be this one, is A New Hope.
Never mind. I don't know.
She doesn't watch Star Wars, folks. Shun.
I've seen them.
Shun the non-believer.
I've seen them. They're just not good.
Shun. She likes Star Trek's better, so I can't divorce.
I don't like... I mean, I do like them better, but they're not like... If we're going to pick a space movie, it's going to be Guardians.
I was about to say that. At least we could agree on that. Like, that's one thing. Like, she may not like the X-Men films. She may not like Star Wars films. A lot of the stuff that I'm really into, she may hate, like Jackass and stuff. But we can't agree that the Marvel films are pretty spot on.
Captain America's the best, though.
You haven't seen Captain Marvel yet. You don't know.
Captain America.
I hope Captain Marvel blows you away.
But is Chris Evans gonna be in that film? He might be.
You never... No, post-credits, maybe.
I hope so. I love Chris Evans.
I know. It's like...
He's my favorite Chris. Chris Pratt used to be up there, but he got weird lately.
Yeah, I know. I like Chris Pratt because he's funny and stuff, but it's kind of like Tom Cruise. Like, you can like him, but his whole Scientology thing kind of puts him down on the list.
It's not on the same level at all. Like, Tom Cruise is way weirder. But Chris Pratt has been getting weird lately.
Yeah. But let's just hope that we can enjoy the work that he makes and kind of separate that from his personal life. Captain America is coming back in Avengers Endgame.
Who's your favorite Avenger?
Well,
Bucky's gonna come back.
Captain America is actually one of my favorites, but the new Spider-Man is phenomenal. And Ant-Man kind of holds a place in my heart because he's an engineer.
Ant-Man's not even an Avenger.
Bullshit!
They don't let him play with the big boys. Because he's so small.
That's a funny joke.
He's small.
He's small. He's small little Jike. Right. But
What?
he's small little tyke, but I don't know why it turned into Jike. But he's going to be in Avengers Endgame. He is an Avenger. He was in Captain America Civil War. He's an Avenger.
I mean, he is going to be in it, but...
You know who's not an Avenger?
Who?
The Wasp.
That's because she's dead.
Fucking spoilers.
It's been over 6 months since that movie came out.
Spoiler alert. She got dusted. Janet got dusted.
If they cared that much, they would have watched it already.
Or no, it's Hope, isn't it? Janet's the older one. But she got dusted
She
too.
did too.
They all got dusted.
They all did.
Everybody dusted.
Nick Fury dusted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck.
Everybody but
I'm
David.
not ready.
Poor Bucky. I don't feel good, Mr. Stark.
No, he's not Bucky no more. He Dusty. You Dusty. You Dusty. You Dusty. Everybody Dusty.
What do you think happens if you snort a dusted character?
It depends if they come back to life. And they'd be a turd after a little while.
It'd be weird.
A little dirt turd. Dirty turdy.
Do you think you get high, though?
No. Probably get sick.
You probably throw up.
Nah, but yeah, like I'm really excited for the Marvel stuff
we should
coming
cut
out.
this all off. We don't need any of this.
Fuck it. I don't care.
I know you don't. Your whole life don't care.
Alright, but hey, if you stuck around with us this long, I really appreciate it.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. They are seeing a glimpse into our stupid, boring, rambling life. But overall, I just appreciate you actually listening to us, and please tune in next week when we cover all of our romantic movies coming out for Valentine's Day.
We just FYI, we don't normally see very many romantic movies, so this is going to be different.
Oh, and Alita Battle Angel.
God, I don't want to see that.
And we're going to watch it anyway.
Can we?
Okay.
Not.
We are going to go see it. And I'll talk to all y'all later.
Barf.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.